A badge of honor. Police officers and first responders wear badges to let their communities know they are here to protect and serve. But that's not how it feels today, and the stress of the job is taking its toll, taking lives through suicide and post-traumatic stress injury. A Badge of Honor podcast features the cast of the same name, Sam Horwitz and John Salerno. Sam, John, and the team offer the first responders workshops through their critical incident stress management teams and mental health liaisons to offer state-certified T-COLE credit programs that save lives. It's time to smash through the stigma. It's time to heal from your injury, and it's time to back our blue. Welcome to A Badge of Honor podcast. Here are your hosts, Sam Horwitz and John Salerno.
Hey, welcome to A Badge of Honor podcast with John and Sam. We are powered by the OBBM network, and I'll tell you, we have grown so much. As a man, I always forget anniversaries, so I got to really thank Sam for remembering our anniversary. Thank you, Sam, on remembering our 2-year anniversary. It's been a crazy ride, a wonderful ride, and a healing ride. So thank you for putting this show together for us.
Absolutely. And it's, just in case you jumped in the middle of that, it's not mine and John's 2nd year anniversary. It's A Badge of Honor's 2nd anniversary as a nonprofit. We started this journey way back in 2019. And I think, John, your amazing just experience as a firefighter and then NYPD detective and everything you did there and how you had to retire because of a medical injury, getting stabbed on the job, and everything coming full circle when you moved to Texas, starting Making a Difference radio. And then this guy emails me out of the blue, and I notice he's got 4 numbers after his name. And I'm like, is that your badge number? You're like, ding, 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 ding. So I just was still making the rounds with the book, with my book. And it's called The Silent Fall. And you can still get it on Amazon. All about 9/11, my experience, and you asked me to come on, and we didn't really know at the time. Our paths crossed at 9/11, but we didn't we didn't hey, John, I remember you were working the pile, I was doing other things. And even though we were both there and we have that shared experience, to be able to come from that to be like, hey, we got to keep doing things together. And then, we're basically peeling back the every layer of how we started, because it's been 2 years that we've been full on, full steam ahead. What do you want to call it? I feel like my foot's been on the gas pedal the whole time, and the ability that we've had to reach out and heal so many. I mean, we're well coming over the 350 first responder mark just here in Texas. That doesn't count, Chicago, and
right.
What was the biggest thing for you besides my ask of let's do this thing?
The whole thing to me, and I've been thinking about this a lot. And what's funny? You bring up 9/11 real quick. Is that I was watching a video today, and they were showing Building 7 coming down. They were showing why Building 7 came down and the fires inside Building 7. I remember when we got there, Building 7 was just coming down. Or just come down, so it had just collapsed while we were on our way up there, and I thought about that was your building, that was Sam's building, and watching it, and it was so surreal. And then, it's mind blowing when you think about when we talk about paths crossed for a reason, and it really could either drive you crazy or it could really warm you inside for different reasons, because each moment in our lives, and I was talking to Tara about this, today. Each moment in our lives changes the trajectory of where we're going to end up. You know, I moved from New York, you moved from Maryland, and we both ended up in Texas on two different sides of this huge state. I was going to build a house in Frisco when I first moved down here, and that ended up falling through. So it was not meant to be, because then I came here and I'm living in the Metroplex, and because my kids bought me a comedy package to go learn comedy and do stage and stand up, I met Megan, right? And we started Mad Radio Texas. We started Making a Difference Radio. She wanted to do the comedy, and I wanted to do the uplifting of organizations. And when you think about it, if I didn't start that, I wouldn't have gone to Strokers here in Dallas to look at the biker community, right? And I wouldn't have met 12 and Shiner, right? Who in turn would have never introduced me to you, which brought us here today. And it's amazing how if I didn't go to Strokers, we would have never met. If I decided to say, hey, screw it, I don't feel like going, and that's why I really preach, make the effort, not the excuse, because everything you do either is going to change your life in a good way, or it's going to change someone else's life. So instead of sitting on the couch, instead of, just saying, being lazy and going, I don't want to do this, experience life. We only go through this world once, so experience every aspect, meet each person, connect with everybody, good or bad, and see where it brings you. And look where it's brought us, man. It's brought us together. We're at 2 years now as a 501c3. We're healing first responders all across the nation. I mean, it's such an uplifting experience. And I think I'm so blessed to be part of this, to be able to ride this this wave. It's amazing.
It is amazing, and I couldn't think of doing it with a better group. And we got to take our first break, and when we come back, we're peeling back the layers of how a Badge of Honor got started, and what we're doing right now. It's been a blast of 2 years, and we'll get right into that after this. Stay tuned.
All right.
Move freely, America, without medical restrictions or penalty. Without medical freedom legislation in place, our rights and freedoms are one vote away from being dissolved. Move freely, America, with one voice, without fear of retribution, achieving a common goal, medical freedom. We the people make our voices heard by connecting with state legislators and engaging a constitutionally compliant medical Bill of Rights for all citizens. Individually, change is improbable, but as an aggregate, attainable. It's time to act with one voice. My voice.
And my voice.
And my voice.
And my voice.
To protect our freedom, creating one voice that cannot be ignored. This requires your voice, too. Move Freely America. Go to movefreelyamerica.org to find a chapter near you. Plug in, donate, and help our legislators defend our God-given rights under the Constitution. Move Freely America. My voice.
And my voice.
And together with your voice, we're one voice that cannot be ignored. Donate today. MoveFreelyAmerica.org.
Hey, welcome back to a Badge of Honor podcast with John and Sam. Man, you're joining us on a wonderful 2-year anniversary where we're going to, take a deep dive into how we got here today and what's on the road ahead for us, because, we've taken on so many different, I guess we can call them partners or friendships or business associates, whatever you want to call, that are really helping us make a difference throughout the nation. We fell in, I don't want to jump the gun, but I don't know which layer of the onion you want to pull off yet. So
well,
I'm going to let you.
We knew that.
I'm going to let you
we
start.
knew that. Okay. Well, we had been building something over to the side where we were sharing our stories on the radio and different things and expanding that way. And I happened to be asked by one of our partners, Frontline Crisis Response, who was doing a class up at Collin County, the training academy there, the fire police. And, they send out the agenda, and I see there's a Rowlett there's a Rowlett cop speaking, and then a couple of chaplains, and then a practitioner at Healing Springs Ranch. And I was like, what is this? Okay, this is going to be interesting. So, I get up, I tell my story, and really what the impact is, it's not you and I telling our stories so that people can just relate to us, or it's definitely not so they can feel sorry for us. It's how we move through this tragedy called 9/11 and post-traumatic stress, and how it affected us and our families and our kids and everything, to how you can go through a lot of crap, come out okay the other side, or say, hey, I'm still working on it, right? But you're laying the roadmap so that people aren't right, so that people are not left with, oh, well, they went through this and now they're all healed. Hallelujah. No, it's not. It's not that. So I'm talking to the firefighters and first responders and chaplains and everything, and then my portion's through, and this cop named Jeff Freeman gets up, and he tells a story like nobody's business. And actually, I think John Edmondson went first. So we went from my story to John Edmondson, and he was talking all about how the brain worked. And it was just a clear support of the kind of the stuff I had just laid out, some of the therapy modalities I went through and experienced, but even more, how exactly the brain is affected, what he did at Healing Springs Ranch, healing, how he healed so many people suffering from addiction of a million kinds. He's got first responders up there, and more first responders coming in because of us and what we created. But I was like, we gotta like talk to this guy because of this amazing piece that he's able to talk to as a practitioner. So that professional piece that you and I don't have. And then Jeff gets up there, and you are hilarious when you do your comedy, John. He is like I can't even explain what Jeff does. Jeff has the ability to draw people in and connect with first responders at a very visceral level from the minute he talks about what it was like for him coming out of the jail into the academy. Boom, on the streets, he calls himself the shit magnet. I mean, he's completely relatable, and
it's almost like a scared straight
I just
with
could
him.
see it. Yeah, that's perfect. That's a perfect way to say that. And it's like, yeah, the first responders are like, well, shit, I better pay attention, right? Because we're at the point now where I'm playing a video about how the brain breaks this down with the cartoons and everything, and Jeff is like laying it out there. So why we come at it from two different ways, and you kind of you're that middle puzzle piece at the end that connects me and Jeff, and then John Edmondson just ties the whole daggone thing in a bow at the end. The tactical resources, because look, we have been, the four of us separately have been on our own journeys, but we've also been out there, and we've seen from going through our own conferences, from sitting through our own workshops that we've signed up with, stuff like that. It's like we see what hits and we see the big misses. And it's how, coming back to the table, it was how, first to John and Jeff, do you want to join a badge of honor? Like, oh, yes, of course. So that was easy. So we had our team of 4, and it was, okay, we have our mission, which has gone beyond the beginning mission, which was post-traumatic stress awareness and suicide prevention for first responders. And now it includes veterans, but now it's all about building wellness and resiliency. We've brought those tools together. So we're like toolbox. So in 8 hours, which were, yeah.
Which your toolbox that you brought up, your toolbox sparked the article that is in the Blues magazine this month. So
right.
you know, your toolbox gave me the ideas, and that's what I think we feed off each other. And like you said, hey, listen, I'm going to be away. Would you be able to do this? And I'm like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? What am I going to write about? And I was like, Sam's toolbox. Let me write about Sam's toolbox. So I wrote about Sam's toolbox, you know, and because that really is a key element in every first responder's tricks. You know, you need that toolbox.
Well, it should be.
It should be.
Right.
And what we see, and like when you read the article, is many of our departments across the nation are failing our first responders by not providing them the proper tools or inadequate tools that sets them up for failure, you know? So we have to make sure that each officer has the top of the line tools for every situation that they encounter.
And that's the glaring deficiency that, you know, you and Jeff have done a phenomenal job in really talking to a lot of the first responders, you know, before we do workshops. And it was, okay, what's missing? Because we've got the guns, you know, we've got our controlled tactics, we've got, you know, if you're in SWAT, if you're a special operator, it's like, we give you that. But when it comes to your brain health, there's no toolbox. There's no tactics. There's no strategies. There's very little programs. Now we see in 2022, coming out of the pandemic, we saw you know, departments like NYPD completely decimated by what the men and women of every first responder facet we're seeing, you know, with having to respond due to COVID and people dying en masse every day in their 12 to 18 hour shifts. And it just was like, whoa, you know, we knew we were going to see the suicide rate go back up. We called that, unfortunately, despite a lot of people talking about mental health, we knew it was coming because of the shortfall in the toolbox. And so we're going to talk, we got to take another break. When we come back, we're going to talk about what we decided to put in our toolbox. So stay tuned. Right. We will be right back.
Right back.
Hi, welcome to Heroes in Action. I'm Ray Amanat, founder and creator of this training system. I originally made it so that everyone can train for free. We have programs for kids, for women, families, and businesses. I'm an author, speaker, and educator on everything that has to do with violence and bullying prevention education. If you'd like more information about who we are and what our programs are, please go to our website at heroesinaction.us or give me a call if you have any questions at 727-314-2534. We hope to see you here to train.
Hey, welcome back to A Badge of Honor podcast with John and Sam. That guy reminds me of Lou Ferrigno, doesn't he?
A little bit, Ray. You're
you know, we welcome back, and we've been discussing our toolbox and our 2-year anniversary and where we are and where we're headed. I just want to bring back a little quick note that you brought about the NYPD, since you know that's my home, that's my family. We just lost a 22-year-old officer, not even off probation yet, due to suicide.
Right.
And this is just speculation on my aspect, is that he was involved in a shooting last year. A young officer, probably only a couple of months on a job. I don't think he fired his gun, but I think he was part of the crew that was involved in the shooting. And, you know, when you're involved in a shooting, they give you, if you pulled the trigger, or if you and your partner were the first ones there, yes, they'll give you 3 days off. Some will give you 10 days off or whatever, and you can seek your so-called in-department counseling, and then put you back out on the street. But they never look at the people that were at the scene. They don't bring them in, and they don't look at them as traumatic participants in that shooting. And what that sparked me, this triggered me, is because I was in a shooting back in 1994 where I let rounds go, and I got my time off. But prior to my shooting, I was involved in another shooting that 2 people were killed, and I didn't fire my weapon, but my partners did, and it triggered me to go, wow, I remember that shooting, I remember that whole scene, but I never got the mental health treatment that I needed. My partners did; they got the mental health treatment, rightfully so, but none of the team that didn't fire their weapon but were on the scene never got checked, evaluated. It was like, okay, 2 people dead, your partners are going back, they're going to the hospital, you guys go back on a patrol, blah, blah, blah. And I think that's where we failed this 22-year-old. This is speculation. I don't know if he got help or he didn't get help, but I would hope that they did do something for this guy. If they didn't help him, shame on the NYPD. But if they did help him and it failed, they should have seen the flags, and they should have made sure he was a young officer. He's impressionable. He's 22 years old. His brain isn't even developed yet. You know what John says, your brain ain't developed till you're 26 years old, right? So 22 years old, there's a lot of stuff going on in there. There's a lot, your coping mechanisms are breaking down, whatever personal issues he has, tragedy. And we're seeing this more and more across our nation with these young officers.
Yeah, especially in the bigger departments, and that's where our brain health and our mental wellness toolbox comes in. That, we structured our workshop very carefully and very thoughtfully, in that you're getting, as a first responder, you're getting the education pieces. You're understanding what's going on inside. You're understanding the science behind not just post-traumatic stress, but stress, a stressed out brain, a stressful situation, what that means, how you may respond, and how you may respond based upon how long you've been a first responder. We know that has an impact. And so based on that, it's like, if you are involved in if you're alone and you get shot, first aid, use of tourniquets, all of that has now been trained in departments, so that you can self-apply a tourniquet to save your life, right? So we approach it in the same way. It's like, you as the individual need to be able to self-treat in the moment. And then when you're self-treating and you're back at the station or back in your vehicle or wherever you are, to recognize, okay, I think I need to go a step further because I've done XYZ, I've learned these tactics and tools, and I'm still having, it's been, 3 months, and I'm still having flashbacks, nightmares, whatever the stress response is. And we also make it very clear that it's our workshop. We're not telling you have post-traumatic stress. That is for a licensed healthcare practitioner. What we are hopefully giving you is that switch that this is what Sam and John were talking about. I feel tight in my shoulders, and John Edmondson gave us this tool. Let me do that. That it's the awareness piece. And hopefully 9 times out of 10, you're at the end of the shift, you're pulling into the driveway and you're like, good. This is good. I'm able to get through it.
You bring up a great point, Sam, is that when we did our last workshop, and I know I told you about this, is that, I developed a trigger. Now I'm 25 years retired, but I still develop triggers. And I developed a trigger probably about a year ago that I'm still trying to overcome, with my dogs barking. I never had that before because I've always had rescue dogs. And now my dogs bark. It's the tone of one of my dogs bark or the chaos a little bit that throws me into an anxiety. But I've never had that before. And I brought that up at the our last workshop. And I said, I get angry. My anger has it can't be controlled. And one of the other officers came up to me and goes, man, I've never been angry in my life. And he goes, and now I'm feeling angry at the slightest little things. I said, well, that's a sign of stress buildup that you've pushed down. So it's your coping mechanisms are a little off kilter, and you need to go get those fixed before they get worse. Because what happens is we don't notice it, especially with the tools that like you said, with the tourniquet and everything else. We do not notice the injury until it's too late because we are in a culture that hides the stigma. If I'm battling and I'm in a department that says, suck it up, rub dirt on it, get back to work, right? I am probably 9 times out of 10 going to bury that stress, and I'm not going to say a word, or I'm going to go to the bar and I'm going to drink myself stupid, and things are just going to fall down the hill, right? But if I'm in a department that embraces the mental health and says, hey, as a chief, as a leader, you can come to me with any mental health issue and I will support you. You will see 10 out of 10 officers go to that leader and go, I'm having a problem. What can you do for me? And I guarantee you, if we get leaders like that, you will see a decrease in suicides. You will see a decrease in alcoholism. You will see a decrease and you'll see an increase in positivity and motivation throughout the departments.
100%. And, that's what we talk about. That's what we bring out to light. And, you touched on, John, you do a phenomenal job in the workshop explaining why coping mechanisms can be a little off kilter or a little skewed. And that's
because mine is so broken.
I want you to go into that. Well, I want, there's a reason, that goes back to childhood. So we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, John is going to tell a portion of his story, exactly why you need to talk and on the front side so that we're not dealing with the coping mechanisms that are so broken on the backside that it's hard to see your way out. So we got to take another quick break. We'll be right back.
Interested in starting a podcast or TV show? Worried about what you'll say and how to keep it engaging? Think you'd like to be a guest on podcast, radio, or TV shows? Hi, I'm Susan Hamilton, owner and founder of OBBM Network, and I would like to invite you to an OBBM media training to get the tools you need for a relaxed and polished performance you'll be proud to share. Our specialized training techniques include role play, voice training, and everything you need to deliver a confident, clear, and engaging interaction. Go to offbeatbusiness.com. Go to the calendar and register for a training that's convenient for you. Dates available now, 214-714-0495.
Hey, welcome back to a Badge of Honor podcast with John and Sam. And we are powered by the OBBM Network. I got to thank the OBBM Network tremendously for giving us this platform and allowing us to bring forth healing on so many different levels. We are now on Rumble TV. You can catch us on YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, all your favorite platforms. And now I think soon to be in Florida on TV on a certain channel, and helping those people down in Florida. So that's upcoming as well. So thank you, OBBM Network, for being such a supporter in a Badge of Honor's healing journey,
Yeah. So, we are talking about a key piece of why a lot of first responders end up with that pushing things down, why the anger seems to be the default, and why sometimes we just are looking for the next shiny object, or we have an addiction issue. And it all comes back to coping mechanisms and how they were formed when we were young. Okay. And John, you do a phenomenal job talking about how, your coping mechanisms and that roadmap was laid for you at a young age and how it impacted you.
Yeah. And you don't really realize it at a young age. You don't think about it. All of the things that happen, everybody has a different path in childhood. Everybody goes through different things. Some people are born with silver spoons in their mouth, which can cause other issues. And other kids are born in a trailer park, and that can bring other issues. I was born to a pretty good family, but my parents divorced. Dad was an alcoholic gambler, leaving me on a doorstep. I was a typical, hey, you got to, dad's coming on Sunday, never shows up. That had a tremendous effect on me as a young kid in grade school, because my anger on Monday in school would always project. And the teachers were saying, but the teachers got to know that, hey, I guess his dad didn't pick him up on Sunday as promised. So I see back then my anger issues, where they stem from, being pissed off, and I never got them corrected, because back then you really never, it was kind of like sweeping on the rug, or we didn't have the mental health that we have now. And then, around 8 or 9 years old, I had a family member for 2 years sexually assault me. And I buried that. I never told anybody. I never allowed anybody to know that, because as a man, I was embarrassed about it. I didn't know how to bring it up. It was a family member, so I didn't want to get anybody in trouble. I didn't want to cause a family, thing. But that happened for 2 years. So for 2 years, I was being traumatized at a young age. I didn't know how to cope with it. So between Pop leaving and really keeping me out on the front step, then the assault for 2 years really skewed my mind as a child. And I never realized it. I thought I grew up as a pretty normal teenager. I buried everything, and I learned how to cope with it in ineffective ways, in the wrong ways. Getting in trouble, doing drugs, drinking, the whole bit. And then, when we talk about paths crossed for a reason, a trajectory happened. I met somebody who was, at that time, we were about 15 years old, 16 years old, and he was a part of the junior brigade fire department in my local town. And I was like, wow, that seems pretty cool. He goes, yeah, come on into it. And it kind of reinvented my life a little bit. It got me out of that path of addiction and everything else, and put me into a self-serving path to help people. So at 15, I became a junior firefighter with Farmingdale, and I learned from mentors. I had good mentors around me, teaching me. And at 18, I became a full-fledged firefighter within my community, and I was there for 24 years. And I served up till the rank of chief. And I think that, and with that, I never had aspirations to being a police officer as a young age. I had police officers in my family, but the fire department kind of, hey, you're either going to be a firefighter or you're going to be a police officer. Go take the civil service test. So I had father figures inside that fire department. God bless Pete Gansey, who was the chief of FDNY. We lost him on 9/11. He was part of my fire department, and he would preach to all the young guys, and I remember conversations sitting in a firehouse, and he would talk about the civil service test and becoming a firefighter. He was a direct impact on so many lives, young kids' lives that became firefighters and cops, So I became a cop, and that the path was wonderful, except for the trauma, death, destruction, baby. I mean, it goes on. And every law enforcement officer will tell you they see that every day. But the coping mechanisms were open when I became a cop, but I hit it well. You go through your psychological, and they don't ask questions like that. They just ask stupid questions to see if you're a psychopath. And if you're not a psychopath, here's a gun. Here's a gun and a badge. You're in. you know. But they don't ask
There
you
you go.
the childhood questions. There's, you know, any cop will tell you they can lie and they'll get over on a over on a psychological exam at any given time, because they're just so easy. I mean, a kid could, you know, get through it. But, you know, you want me to get into where it turned bad? You want me to get into that point when I brought out the sexual
Well, I
assault?
mean, we both, you know, in our stories and sharing, and, you know, we don't want to give play the whole movie so that we have first responders, you know, come to the workshop. But you and I, you know, are no stranger to first of all having, you know, guns in the house and using those firearms against ourselves and having those thoughts. And it was rock bottom for you and I both when
Right.
we had our suicide attempt. And it was a wake-up call. And you know, there was a lot more involved in yours in terms of the aftermath, and that is a learning process for the way departments respond to firefighters, to first responders, to law enforcement in general when they're in trouble. But it's on the flip side, you know, afterwards, after the realization that, hey, we're not okay, we got the help. It's still a journey. You never stop learning. You know, if you think you're ever going to stop reading or learning or listening to podcasts about how to heal yourself and how to carry out your journey beyond the healing, because research doesn't stop. And I would say in this last decade, the research that has come out about how the brain is affected by constant stress and post-traumatic stress, and the level of and the number of police officers, both on the job and retired, and firefighters that have served in, you know, we've talked to a firefighter, retired firefighter on the show. He was a veteran, he was a police officer, and then became a firefighter, and now he's retired. And that level of human that comes out to say, I didn't go through this shit for nothing. Right. And I'm not keeping it here, because it's not fair to watch my brothers and sisters still out there on the street, still out there showing up every day, even when they do not want to. And it would be selfish for us to sit on the sidelines, to only focus on us, rather than to pull you and me and Jeff and John together, because we all bring our trauma, we all bring our tragedy, we all bring our childhood, everything, and we put it out there in a way to let people know, let first responders know, first of all, shit, it is okay not to be okay. You are not alone. I mean, yeah, we're not on the job anymore, except for Jeff, but you're truly not alone. So it's like smash the stigma has become popular. Let's smash the stigma. I'm like, let's punch it the bleep in the face. Okay. Yeah. I mean, you know, let's just, and whoever's got to be shaken up at your department, we got to shake them up at every single level so that they realize you can be an effective first responder with a clinical diagnosis of whatever and do your job. But you're you, an amazing human being given gifts, going through the crap that you're going through, getting better, being healed, able to talk to people in your own department, able to tell your chief, whatever it is. And what that does is it creates the true, what the thin blue line is supposed to stand for, right? We're supposed to stand and support. We're not supposed to run the other way when somebody says, hey, that call really messed me up. And I you know, we the four of us, we got so sick and tired of hearing those stories of like, you'll back me up in a second if we got to go through this door. But if I've got to talk to you because something up here is a little messed up, you're walking out the door.
Yep.
That's sending a big FU to your own brother or sister.
Well, it's because we don't know the conversation, Sam, and we bring this up in the workshop. We take it to the L level. Hey, you okay? Yeah, I'm fine. We know you're not fine, but the conversation becomes uncomfortable at that point. We teach you how to break through that ice and get that conversation out and be able to do this. And you know what? I just want to segue real quick into an advertisement because you're talking about post-traumatic stress. I want to segue into PTSD 911, the movie with Conrad Weaver, producer, writer. It's going across the nation. It's going to be here in Texas in June. It is a must-see. It's going to show you that you are truly not alone. It's going to show you first responders from across the nation who are battling just like everybody else out there. Let's
hang on. Yeah, let's talk about that. We got to take one more quick break, and we'll talk about that and the Smashing the Stigma and Walk the Bridge initiatives when we get back. We'll be right back, everybody.
I'm the health engineer right here on the Offbeat.
Hi, I'm Larry Thornton.
Hi, my name is Susan Hamilton, and you're watching Offbeat. Hi, this is Doreen Milano. Welcome to Big Ideas Small Business, where we will talk to Terry Arjala.
Hey, welcome back to a Badge of Honor podcast with John and Sam. It's our 2-year anniversary. I want to thank everybody for tuning in, and being part of this great journey that we have here in healing our heroes through workshops, through networking, through walking the bridge, through everything. I want to thank everybody for and share this podcast, because you never know who it's going to touch. Words are very powerful, and if somebody picks up on a healing word, it could save their life. So please share this with all your friends and on all your networks, because it is an important message.
Absolutely. And one of our initiatives is bringing shining more light. And you said it, Conrad Weaver, amazing executive producer, director. He's done a number of documentaries, and he dove in headfirst when he got to experience what firefighters go through on a daily basis in his own town in Emmitsburg, Maryland, back in my state where I moved from. And we built a great connection. We built a bridge of communication because we understood each other. And with Conrad's help, PTSD 911 is the name of the film. It premiered in Irving, Texas. And the outpouring of support from the Garland Police Department, from the city council in Garland, it's like, you know what? We got to get this back. It's now touring the country. I think Conrad and Todd Geary at Garland PD, they were just out at, I think it's Wisconsin. Sorry if I'm getting the state wrong, but they just got back from a film festival. So everybody mark your calendar, June 24th. It is a Saturday night. So we have booked a theater. Thank you, City of Garland, for lending. Yeah, your theater. And we are going to premiere it in Garland and have a great discussion. And then we'll have an after party. So that's one of our initiatives to continue the conversation, because the more stories that get out there, the better we're able to talk about it, to shine a light on it. The other huge initiative that we're working on is Walk the Bridge. And that's been going on since 2018. And John, I'm going to bring up the webpage. So why don't you tell folks about it?
Yeah. So like you said, we initiated Walk the Bridge back in 2018 through a whole bunch of people getting support together and just, walking the bridge in Rowlett, Texas. And now it is credited with saving over 9 lives just from walking and talking and being around people that understand. And now we're getting family members. We're getting organizations to come out and support. And we are global now. We started in Rowlett Texas, and we moved to, Chicago. We moved to Montana. We're now going to start in Kentucky and Utah. We're across the pond over in England. We're bringing on Romania and Hungary. So we are going to be walking the bridge globally. And these are men and women who have either served in our military or first responders, their family members, their friends, just to learn about each other and to connect with each other. Because if you're not moving forward, you're moving backwards, and we don't ever want to move backwards. We want to keep moving forward, and a walk is what it takes. We want to walk forward. We want to discuss. We want to talk. We want to share. Or you know what? We just want to walk in silence with each other and just feel each other's energy, and that right there is the whole point. These shirts, Walk the Bridge shirts from Grunt Style. Grunt Style was so kind to partner with this movement because they believed in it. And they built these graphics and put them on their official Grunt Style T-shirts, and they are available for purchase. And portions of these proceeds will go to help first responders and scholarship them into a Badge of Honor workshops. As we know, a lot of our departments do not have the funding or do not have the capabilities of paying for more members to go to these workshops. Well, a Badge of Honor podcast and a Badge of Honor decided, hey, if you can't pay for it, guess what? We will do something to help pay for it. But we need your support. We need you to purchase these shirts. As you purchase these shirts, just think, as you wear it, you are saving a first responder. You're putting a first responder through a workshop at a scholarship program that is going to help them get through the rest of their career and beyond. So this is more than just a T-shirt. It's a lifesaver. It's helping our first responders and our veterans secure a spot in a Badge of Honor workshop. So I want to thank Grunt Style for being so generous and taking this initiative even further than we could have ever expected. So thank you, Tim Jensen, man. He's the CFO over at Grunt Style. He's a veteran. He is a combat veteran, and Grunt Style has always done right by our military. So thanks again, Grunt Style, for everything you do. Go on to walkthebridge.org to order.
Yes, absolutely. Go to walkthebridge.org to order. You can go to our website at badgeofhonor.com and click on Walk the Bridge up at the top as well and get connected. And so the shirts are available. Again, you're wearing the shirt, you're saving a life, you're helping to smash the stigma surrounding mental health for our veterans, for our first responders. And as you notice, we got T-shirts, we got long sleeve shirts, we even got hoodies. That's how awesome Grunt Style is.
And hoodies. Ladies shirts. And the ladies.
And ladies shirts, yeah. But we got hoodies. So, and that's how much Grunt Style really believes in the mission. And so they rolled out the red carpet with that. So again, walkthebridge.org, and we'll put it up at the end of the show. But go on, order the shirts. This fundraising shirt, this shirt that brings awareness on mental health struggle for first responders and veterans, you've got to order by March 15th. Okay. March 15th, cutoff date. So after the podcast is over, go to walkthebridge.org and order the shirt. And it's, like I said, it is saving lives all over the world. It's amazing. So thank you, Grunt Style. Besides our workshops for first responders specific that we've done is 8 hours long. We've also got the family first responder and first responder family workshop. So that day is split. So it's first responders in the classroom first, and then we bring the family in the afternoon. So we spend 8 hours together, bridging the gaps in communications and other things that we talk about there. PTSD 911 got to Walk the Bridge. And what we're able to do is just reach more people, because all of everybody that comes to our workshops that fills out the information, we stay in touch. We're like, tell somebody. If you enjoyed this, tell somebody. North Texas is a given. Garland Police Department as our partner is a given. It is just because it's at a police department doesn't mean it's only open to police. It's all first responders. So we cover police, fire, EMS, dispatch, forensics, investigators with the DA's office. If you're a first responder, if you're in the capacity, you have the eligibility to sit in on and be part of the workshop. So we've got Walk the Bridge this month is on Sunday the 19th. It's the third Sunday of every month at 3:00. We're over in Rockwall, but like I said, so that's after the deadline for the shirts, which is on the 15th. So I don't want people to be confused. Let me just throw up the banner right now. So I'll show this. Yep. So walkthebridge.org again. Deadline on the 15th. Walk the Bridge is the 19th. Okay. So go grab your shirts. We've also got this month on the 25th in our partnership with the Rowlett Fire Department. It is a firefighter and I'm going to mess that up. It's a firefighter and family member workshop. Oh, that's a mouthful.
Too many F's. Too many F's in that.
Firefighter workshop. Too many F's. Agreed. And so we are going to spend 8 hours together, and it's going to be really powerful. So if you are not a member of the Rowlett Fire Department, it does not mean that you cannot come. Okay. Reach out to us. How you do that is super easy. Go to badgeofhonor.com. You'll see our events tab and a calendar will come up. It'll have the contact information for that. And we will make sure that you have a space for you, your spouse, significant other, kids, whatever it is. So that is open, but our huge kudos to the chief. Yes, kids over the age of 13. And with that, we thank you so much for allowing us to peel back.
Carry the load.
Our partnership, our nonprofit partnership with Carry the Load, also serving first responders, law enforcement, active duty, military, and our veteran community. And what that means is we'll be rolling that initiative out right after the t-shirts, and you will be able, again, this is directly, your contribution directly positively affects the lives of first responders, their family members, our veterans, and our active duty community. And we'll be putting all of the information out, how you can join our team or make a donation or how you fundraise. Because the way we do this, a Badge of Honor podcast and the nonprofit, it's all because of the generosity from you all out there that join us here each week and that just like, hey, I want to help. I'm not a first responder, or maybe I'm a retired. I want to still be involved. I want to help. It's as easy as going to our website. There's a donate button that kind of floats around. We've got a roundup for first responders. It's ongoing all the time. Click that donate button, boom. And you can designate a credit card. It'll round up to the nearest dollar every time you use a credit card. So we so appreciate the support. And again, this is going to, your contributions directly affect the lives of a first responder, the life of a first. It puts their rear ends in a seat that maybe they would have never had the opportunity to do because the budget's not there, and it allows them to learn about what's going on with them and how to manage their stress and how to manage a stressful career so that they can be the best them that they are as human beings in the career field that they chose. So we thank you, first responders, for keeping us safe here at home every single day, answering our calls when things are bad for us. And so thank you for your continued, just stay strong, because we got your back. We truly have your back. You are not alone at all. for our veterans. Thank you for doing what you did to make this country great so that we can do this podcast that we do. And for all of our active duty that is serving across the world, thank you for what you're doing to keep our shores safe from the tyranny out there. John, take us home.
Man, the one thing you said is freedom. We wouldn't be able to do this podcast if we didn't have the freedom of our country. And you know what? The only thing that stands between us and total chaos is our first responders and our veterans. So once again, I can't reiterate enough of what Sam said. Thank you so much for doing what you do. And if you could be anything in the world, just be kind. Until next week, this is John and Sam with the Badge of Honor podcast. Catch us every Wednesday from 5 to 6 on any of your favorite podcast stations. Good night, Sam.
Well, that would be on Mondays because John's talking about his other radio show.
What did I say? Did I say Wednesdays?
He said Wednesdays. That's okay. See, we have comedy hour as well. I love you, partner. Happy second anniversary.
All right.
We'll see
Take care.
Out there.
Peace.
Take care, everybody.
A Badge of Honor podcast is produced for the OBBM Network podcast and protected under copyright law. For content permissions, please submit your request to abadgeofhonor.com on the content page. For OBBM Network programming information, please call 214-714-0495 today.